Ladies and gentlemen, my guest this week.
Joining me this week on the line from Cork is Celtic Championship Wrestling promoter Lee Cahalane. Lee, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks a million for having me, Dave. It's actually Lee Cahalane, not Cahalane.
Cahalane, excuse me. Excuse me for the mispronunciation. So first off, let me add my congratulations first off to CCW's 4th anniversary that you guys were celebrating last week. So, what initially inspired you to start CCW back in 2012?
Thanks for that, Dave. It's been 4 years. I suppose initially what inspired me was, a passion for pro wrestling, really, most importantly. And I guess, as a kid, I suppose it kind of started off, everybody watches pro wrestling on Sky One or Sky Sports, and I think it was my cousin originally got me into it in around the kind of 97, 98. I just used to watch it all the time. And once I got hooked, I think in around 97, 98, I just couldn't stop watching the pay-per-views, Raw and SmackDown every week, and Live Wire, etc. Just every program that was on, really, and that's kind of how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess years later, then I kind of wanted to get into the business, mostly at first as a wrestler. I didn't really have any aspirations to be a promoter at the start. It was mostly always about being a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
It was very hard at the time when I was growing up I suppose the only places really you could learn how to wrestle was in Bray or in Dublin, and it wasn't really feasible for me to travel. And at the time I was living down in West Cork, which is even an hour and a half away from where I currently live in the city. So it was, you're talking a 4 or 5 hour journey, even before the motorway was there. So a big long journey to train. And, I did a few camps and stuff like that, but it was never anything that I could, do it on a weekly basis. So I guess, about 4 years ago, we decided, look, there's no wrestling in Cork over the last few years, and I said to myself, let's see if we can promote a show and see how it goes and see if it's well received. And I kind of got involved with a network of great people and great wrestlers and great talent, and we went from one show to a second show and a third show and a fourth show, and I think we're almost done 40 shows now in 4 years, so
awesome.
It's not too bad,
So awesome. Well, it sounds like you've gone from strength to strength ever since. So before you started CCW, were you involved working with any other wrestling promotions in Cork or elsewhere?
Yeah, I did a little bit of promotion work, getting out there, putting up posters and doing advertising and newspaper write-ups and stuff for a promotion back in the day. And just kind of around 2008, I think. Just did 2 shows down in my local area. Pre-CCW, just for a different promotion up the country, and just kind of help with the promotional work, but never really worked with the company or anything. I suppose I was just kind of help them externally, really, and so that was kind of the only kind of experience that I had pre-CCW, really.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So as a promoter, what do you consider the high points and the low points of running a wrestling promotion, and what spurs you on to continue doing so?
Well, I suppose, look, the high points are, I guess, putting on a really good show and I suppose the fans appreciating a really good show. And, most importantly, I suppose being, organised and, having a look back and saying, oh, yeah, well, look, we put this together, it looks pretty good. And most importantly, I guess, especially for, from a school standpoint as well, guys that are, cutting their teeth in the school and seeing those guys kind of, develop and, get better each show and stuff like that. That's quite rewarding. The low points are, if you're into wrestling, there isn't much low points. I suppose, always you want to have a big crowd, and I think we seem to be able to draw pretty regular, good crowds. So I suppose, the low points would be, we don't really have any low points. I suppose, you're always going to get, I guess when you're starting off a bit of negative feedback and stuff, you know, when you're just branching into the business and stuff, you know, and people are kind of questioning, oh, well, are these guys going to be jabronis or whatever coming into the business, and, you know, are they going to be respectful, and are they going to be well received? And I think that, you know, one thing's for sure, you know, I think we've surrounded ourselves with enough successful people within the business to kind of avoid that negative backlash, you know, and you know, obviously it's like anything, you know, if you're, you know, coming into something new, obviously people want to kind of screen you and vet you and see if, you know, these guys are actually going to be an asset to the scene as a whole, or are they going to just be, you know, some guys that are, you know, dressing up as Hulk Hogan and you know what I mean, that kind of stuff, you know. So I think that we've kind of proven over the last 4 years that, you know, we're here for the long haul, and we're here to kind of benefit the scene and develop wrestlers in our own school as well, and certainly look forward to working with all the other promotions and making sure that Irish wrestling is you know, put into the, or I suppose, you know, Irish wrestling is, you know, getting bigger and bigger every day, really, you know.
Absolutely. If you had any advice out there for any inspiring wrestling promoters, like who hope to put together promotion like anywhere else in Ireland, what would you say to them?
Well, look, the most important thing really is to learn from people that have already, you know, been successful, I guess. You know, there's a lot of good promoters out there, guys like Joe Cabray and, you know, and other promoters as well in the UK and all across Ireland. And Lenny Hanna is another good promoter there. So just ask the guys. You know, you've got PWU in Northern Ireland as well. Just reach out to them. Just say, hey, looking to get into the business. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to work with all these guys, and I think that I've learned from each person that I have worked with. You know, the one good thing about Irish wrestling is that if you're looking for the help, you know, you will get it. I guess the one thing is, you know, our scene is quite packed right now with wrestling promotions. So, you know, a good business plan would certainly go a long way in getting into the business. But you know, I think there's more promotions than ever now, 5 or 6 promotions, and a lot of the promotions are doing really, really well now as well. So yeah, I mean, there's an ample supply of information and knowledge there within the scene now. So, you know, just reach out to these guys, and, you know, I'm sure they'll guide you in the right direction. Absolutely.
Now, as a performer yourself, Lee, you present yourself as a heel boss of the company, similar to perhaps a Vince McMahon or an Eric Bischoff. What's that experience been like for you, and what prepared you to do so?
Well, yeah, I kind of initially presented myself kind of as I kind of started off as a babyface owner, kind of commentator. Then I moved into a heel role. But over the last year, we've changed. We've kind of, well, I suppose. Look, firstly, to answer your question, yeah, it was very interesting, very exciting project to take on. I think that one of the strong points about my character is that I'm a mic guy, really. You know, that's kind of my thing. I'm a promo guy. So like that's probably my strong point. So at the start, like, you know, I had the experience of the commentary, and then kind of came in as the kind of the heel GM, and then the kind of heel stable boss. Really exciting. It's obviously, look, you know, when you grow up and you watching wrestling, you're always looking at, you know, all the Attitude Era, especially. It was all promo-driven, story-driven stuff. So it was really good to get the opportunity to do that kind of thing, you know. And like later, then from the kind of, we'll say, heel chairman kind of character, kind of progressed into a how would you put it, kind of a heel stable member who's kind of lost his power, and now there's a new face commissioner, if you kind of get me.
Gotcha,
so I'm actually just an active wrestler now, rather than the chairman character. It's quite hard to be able to do both, really. So although I do book and promote the product, I'm also just an active wrestler now, rather than the on-screen kind of commissioner. so to speak.
Well, I was just going to bring it up actually now. You've now stepped into the ring. Like, you wrestled, obviously, you've been involved in wrestling before, obviously. You became a promoter, as you said earlier. And now you're actually continuing the Hale persona as a co-holder of the CCW tag titles. So what's the training been like? Certainly whilst you're promoting the product, and what's it been like, and how was it before? Like before then, what would be the main differences?
As just the promoter, as to the promoter and talent, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, look, at the start, as the promoter, I suppose, I was learning a lot of stuff as well, so I needed to fully concentrate on the product first, because obviously, you've got to establish a good, solid roster. You've got to establish, more importantly than that, you got to learn the business. You got to learn how to promote the events. You got to know what venues are suitable. You got to know what kind of marketing to use. That kind of stuff. You got to get contacts in the newspaper and the radio, like yourselves, or yourself. All the odds and ends that you need to be able to put on a solid show. Most importantly is brand awareness. So to get that brand awareness, you need to really concentrate on the product at the start. After a few years, I could confidently say then that this is what we're doing. This is how we do it. We have enough connections. And then, I did concentrate on training. For the last couple of years, I've been, I'd say last 3 years I've been training. I've had a lot of good guest trainers and stuff that have helped me out. And, we're very adamant about doing regular seminars and stuff like that. We've also I was firstly trained by Blake Norton, formerly of Celtic Pro Wrestling.
Very good.
So he would have been one of the guys that would have been heavily involved in Irish wrestling back in the day. We've had guys like Ross Brown from the Fight Factory in training, guys, and it's been a great experience. We actually have a new facility now in Cork City at the Marina Commercial Park. We're doing classes 3 nights a week, so
cool.
Just looking to build the next crop of CCW guys and see where we go from there.
That's pretty awesome. Like, as I said, like, I was going to bring up the wrestling school there, but it sounds like you have everything sorted, like, for the next crop of guys coming through in Cork. So with regards to CCW's future, what would you consider the short-term and long-term goals for the promotion?
Well, the short-term goals are, just to keep building on the audiences. We are actually we have been developing over the last 2 years an on-demand. So we've been filming all our live shows. So we want to get that up and running so that people can kind of really see the kind of shows from story to story, from show to show, that kind of stuff. Long-term goals, there's a few Cinderella goals in the pipeline. All right, we're looking to do a pretty big show next year. I'm not going to give away too much information on it, but we want to bring back wrestling to a certain venue in Cork City. That if we can pull it off, it would be like, I suppose, CCW's Mecca. So we're working on that as well at the moment. So it's kind of a pipeline dream at the moment to try and bring back wrestling in a big way here in Cork. I think we're definitely on the way over the last 4 years' efforts, and hopefully, by mid next year we'll have hit that target, I suppose.
Fingers crossed it works out anyway. So obviously...
Fingers crossed, exactly.
And toes. So CCW obviously will be celebrating its 4th anniversary with CCW Super Brawl 16, which takes place on August 27th, 2016. What can CCW fans expect from the event, or even newcomers to the pro wrestling scene who may be looking to see it for the first time? What can they all expect from the event? Well,
this is actually our 3rd annual Celtic Rumble.
Okay.
So we started off the Celtic Rumble in 2014, which is essentially very similar to, obviously, WWE's Royal Rumble. It's a 30-man over-the-top rope elimination battle royal. We started off actually in 2014 with a 20-man and 1-woman Rumble.
Okay, cool.
In 2015, it was a 25-man, and now this year we're going for the 4-year anniversary. We're going to 30 men from over 8 different countries, including USA, Canada, Afghanistan, Barbados, Canada, Switzerland, Ireland, of course, the UK. So we're bringing in some big guns from across the pond and across the globe as well, just to I suppose, really showcase, where we've come over the last 4 years. Guys can expect some great indie talents like Jack Jester and former Progress World Champion Pastor William Ever. We're also bringing in Drew Onyx from Canada.
Oh, very good.
You know him from the NWA UK scene. I think he was the NWA UK Commonwealth champion at one point.
I think he was.
But he would have been heavily involved with guys like Fergal Devon, Paul Tracy, Phil Boyd, all those guys down the Fight Factory as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're just bringing in a lot of guys, and of course the CCW mainstays like Bruiser, Bingo, Lycan, Ricky Combat, and the list goes on. Danny the Beast Butler. It's a stacked card. What people can expect, I suppose, is just expect a really good night of pro wrestling action. You've got some of Irish wrestling's big names and a lot of experience in the ring. So it's going to be a good quality show. It's going to be, I guess, like I said at the start, an example of how far we've come in 4 years. You may have a few special guest returns, some guys that have wrestled with us in the past. So,
mm-hmm.
If whether you've been a fan of CCW from day one, or whether you're a newbie, or whether you're a fan coming back to watch it, we just invite everybody down to the Ballyfahan Community Centre on August 27th, because it's going to be a good night.
Well, it certainly sounds like an awesome event you guys are putting together. So, you think you touched on this earlier on, but when you see yourselves in CCW, OCT and Mainstage Wrestling here in Dublin, and Pro Wrestling Ulster up in Belfast, how would you describe the state of the current Irish indie wrestling scene at the moment?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think, it's been said, it's a renaissance of wrestling in Ireland, not just in Europe, even the UK, but in Ireland, it's amazing to see. It's fantastic to see such great wrestlers. I mean, when I first got into the Irish wrestling scene, it was fantastic to kind of a lot of the Cork fans were still uneducated. They had seen some stuff here and there in patches, and they didn't realise exactly how much raw talent there was in Ireland. And it was fantastic to be able to show the fans, and it's fantastic to see. Even in the big leagues in WWE now, the amount of Irish people that are making their name, mm-hmm. over in the USA, whether it be TNA or WWE, it's just fantastic, and it is it's fantastic to see big crowds, big wrestling, and stuff that really competes with even the big indies across the pond and stuff.
Absolutely. So I must ask you, as a fan yourself, Lee, who are your favourite wrestlers, both growing up and right now?
Well, I suppose right now there's just so many great wrestlers, really, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jericho has always been a favourite of mine. I suppose you could count him as current. I like a lot of the new crop of guys. Seth Rollins,
yes.
Kevin Owens, all of those guys. Of course, Fergal. It's great to see Fergal getting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or should I say Finn Balor? His chance there at SummerSlam. It's going to be a great moment for Irish wrestling. I suppose past, there's always Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart, Ric Flair, Stone Cold, the list goes on. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, the list goes on. I could name a million wrestlers. To be honest, I have a million favourite wrestlers, because there's just so many great wrestlers that you can look at, that it's tough. But if I had to say, probably Shawn Michaels might be one of my favourites of all time.
Okay, cool. Finally, Lee, I must ask you, as a promoter, if there was a dream match that you wish you could promote, what would it be and why?
A dream match?
It could be more than one. You'll have to mention one.
It could be more than one match?
Yeah. It makes it easier.
That's a really tough one. There's so many dream matches out there. I suppose. Do you know what? I'm gonna say Shawn Michaels versus Finn Balor.
Oh, that's a hell of a match to promote. You can't top that.
A horrible match.
It's a brilliant match. Imagine that for a dream one. Straight from Cork, eh? For Super Brawl 17, eh?
yeah, Summer Brawl actually. Summer Brawl.
Oh, excuse me, Summer Brawl.
But yeah, I'm going to say that I've got to be patriotic. I'd like to see that match. That'll be fantastic.
You've every right to be patriotic in that sense. So CCW's Super Brawl 16 will be in the, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this right, the Ballyhehan Community Centre in Cork?
Yeah, it's actually CCW Summer Brawl 16.
Summer Brawl 16, excuse me.
Yeah, I think WCW did Super Brawl, so I don't want to get sued, you know?
Summer Brawl, that's my fault. I have it down wrong, I think. Summer Brawl, Summer Brawl 16 on the Ballyhehan Community Centre will be taking place in Cork on Saturday, August 27th, 2016. Tickets are still available on eventbrite.ie and ticketmaster.ie. Lee, it's been a terrific pleasure to talk to you. All the best and more in CCW, and wish all the best in the future.
Yeah, appreciate it, Dave. Thanks a million, and look after yourself, man. Cheers.
Thank you very much.